Thank you for joining me today. Unafraid, right or wrong. Before we get started, please make sure you like the feed, share the feed, continue the conversation. We got a couple good things up for you guys today. First of which is I am utterly embarrassed by two things today. Number one, the U.S. men's national team, they failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. That hasn't happened since 1986. And I'm dumbfounded. It just doesn't make sense to me. Also, Stephen Stausburg, the alleged ace pitcher for the Washington Nationals, he refused to take the game for a start in their elimination game, which is ridiculous. And Harry Weinstein, the big wig Hollywood executive who's now everybody's come out about their sexual assault or sexual harassment by him. And this was a big cover up, the worst kept secret in all of Hollywood. We're going to get to that and how that affects you. First of which, though, back to the U.S. men's national team, right? There's over $1 billion put into youth soccer. It's put into the U.S. men's national team and their whole program. And it does not make sense to me on any level how they could not make the World Cup. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, it's embarrassing as an American citizen and all that. Because I'm not going to pretend like I'm the guy who is a soccer aficionado and watches UEFA on the weekends and watches all these like soccer events. No, I'm the guy who tunes in during the World Cup. That's who I am. I'm the guy who cheers for his country. I'm the guy who gets excited about soccer during the World Cup. And I would imagine that many of you guys are like me. So when you saw that we were playing the Trinidad and Tobago to get into the World Cup and all we needed was a draw, you were like, oh, wow, this is in the bag. 93% chance. This is in the bag, right? Trinidad and Tobago is the size of San Diego, and they beat us 2-1. I mean, is there anything more embarrassing than not making the World Cup? Because the reason why it's so confusing to me is because we are the United States. We are good at everything. I mean, literally everything. Can anybody think of one sport that we're not good at? In the top in the country, in the world. We're good at volleyball. We're good at beach volleyball. We're good at the X Games, cycling, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, women's sports, soccer, curling, darts, everything. So it is like bothersome to me when we don't qualify for the World Cup. And then I get on Twitter last night and I ask, I'm like, how is this even humanly possible? And you know what I get? I get a bunch of excuses. Oh, well, our best athletes don't play soccer. There's enough athletes in the United States to play all the sports. Because some of these countries like Trinidad and Tobago, like Colombia and Argentina and all these countries are Belgium, much smaller than us. So how can't we field enough quality, top-notch players, right? So all I keep getting is excuses. Oh, the field was too wet and too heavy. The other team had to play on the same damn field. And then I get excuses. Oh, the best athletes don't play soccer. They're in the NBA, NFL, MLB. Wait, what? No, at some point in time, you're heighted out. Like height. You're heighted out. Because LeBron James can't play professional soccer. The dude's 6'7", like 260. Lionel Messi, 5'7". Neymar, 5'7". Ronaldo, 6 feet tall. Suarez, 6 feet tall. The really only giant that I could find was the Zoltan dude that plays for Man U. Really, like, think about that. Then I'm like, even the women's soccer team, they are World Cup favorites every time. Or in the top 3 at least. So how aren't we able to compete on the men's side? Oh, well, there's a lot less competition on the women's team. There's 24 teams that make it instead of 32. I don't care, man. We don't take soccer seriously in the United States. What do you mean? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Soccer players probably are some of the highest paid athletes in the entire world. Higher than football players, higher around baseball, basketball. Like, that's the level of, so there is interest there. And so many kids play soccer. Like, I don't know too many kids that didn't at least at some point in time play at least one season of soccer with the little Sports Illustrated photo like, hey, mom. You know, so it doesn't make sense how we don't field a competitive soccer team with the U.S. men's national team. It doesn't make sense. Then I get the excuse, oh, kids turn pro at 13 overseas and in these other countries. That's why they're so good at soccer and we're not. Excuse me. We have kids homeschooled for golf, for tennis, even for basketball. And you think that an excuse is going to fly that they turn pro early and the only place to do it here is at IMG. Man, stop it. Stop it, man. It's an embarrassment. I can't possibly come up with one good reason why we would not have a competitive baseball team. Baseball team, soccer team. And then also this affects business, right? Because after Rio, after Brazil, the question was, oh, can we beat Colombia, Belgium, Argentina in soccer? Hell no, we can't even beat Trinidad and Tobago, which is the size of San Diego. And then this affects business because Fox paid $200 million for the rights to broadcast the World Cup. And do you know where their viewership just got tanked at? Yep, here, because I won't be tuning in probably at all, if very much. Because for me to tune in, that means that I would have to tune in and watch all these UEFA players, watch the CONAFA championship and all that, and that's not what I do. I tune in to watch the United States like so many of you. And now I can't watch them. Now, actually, we should all have a viewing party together. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, invite all the players over. Landon Donovan, I know he's not playing anymore. But he should have a party at his house, invite us all. Because it was just awful. I mean, I can't even speak to the embarrassment I felt last night when they lost. I was at my kids' baseball practice, and I look on my phone. I'm like, we lost to Trinidad and Tobago? Oh my God, they're not making the World Cup? That's what they get, actually. That's what they get. That's the first thing I thought. I mean, because that wouldn't happen in any other sport where we don't qualify. I understand that we're not good enough to win because of whatever reason, right? Because I get that soccer's not as popular here in the United States. But, I mean, come on. I mean, let's just be real about this. It's terrible. Next thing up, though, Stephen Stausburg, the Washington Nationals quote unquote ace pitcher. I'm just going to call him a pitcher from now on. Yesterday, the Cubs and the Nationals were supposed to play game 4 of their playoff series. It's 5-game series, first to 3 wins. Cubs are up 2-1. So this is an elimination game. The game got rained out, which is great for the Nationals because now Stephen Stausburg, who started in game 1, is available on short rest. I'm sorry, he's not even available on short rest. He could have pitched on normal rest, 5 days rest. Guess what Stephen Stausburg does? I'm not pitching. And then Dusty Baker trolls out in front of the media and says, oh, well, he's sick. He's under the weather. What? Stephen Stausburg is under the weather and can't pitch. If his ass ain't in the hospital, he needs to be out there pitching. He needs to want to take the ball. The $175 million man needs to want to take the ball. And it's not even because of his paycheck. It's simply because as a competitor, when you are the best, mind you, he had the 4th highest ERA, the earned run average, in the entire major leagues this year. So he's one of the best pitchers in the entire league, by far. But then you don't play him. I'm sorry, he refuses to play, and you make an excuse for him saying he's sick. because he wants to pitch in game 5. His normal, where he thought he was normally going to start. Like, this is the problem. People want to play under perfect conditions. No, sorry, man. We're going to move your start up the way we can get to game 4. And then we can win game 4 because you're an elite pitcher. And then pitch game 5, pitch Scherzer. So then we can get out of the series. But no, you're going to let Tanner Roark with the 47th best ERA in the entire league pitch. What kind of sense does that make? And then the under the weather thing, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all because, so after he pitched, after pitchers pitch, so if you're not familiar with baseball, how this works is they pitch a day, they have a rest day, then they get a bullpen, which is essentially like a practice, keep their arm loose, get their arm strong, back healthy, all this stuff like rehab, right? So they do their bullpen. He did his bullpen on Monday. And then on Tuesday, he shows up to the ballpark. So if he were sick, right? Because remember, Dusty Baker told us on Tuesday that Tanner Roark was going to start today. So if he was sick, why did he come to the ballpark on Tuesday? And then why would he be playing catch like he did in the outfield with the other Nats when they were warming up? But you're sick. You're sick enough to be at the ballpark. You're sick enough to be warming up, throwing out in the outfield. Because why would he actually be at the field in particular? Because mind you, baseball players, pitchers in particular, when they're not playing on a day when they know that they can't play because of their rest and all that, they don't even come to the park, and especially not Wrigley Field, because what you know is the visitors' locker rooms in the Wrigley Field are very tight. They're close confines. You got to step over each other, all of that. So if you have a tremendously ill player, where don't you want him? In close confines with the other healthy people, because guess what's going to happen? They're going to get sick too. So that's why it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense as to this whole Stephen Stausburg was sick mumbo jumbo. It just doesn't. And when you look at the history of sports, like, you're supposed to be a competitor. You're supposed to want to play under adverse conditions when it's hard, when it's hot. If you're supposed to be the man, I mean, just think about just baseball players, right? We saw Kershaw pitch on short rest, regardless of whether it was successful or unsuccessful. Last year it was successful. We've seen Bumgarner pitch more innings in the postseason than any pitcher ever. World championship. In football, we've seen Brett Favre play when I don't remember whether it's his mom or his dad died. Go out there, ball on Monday night. Jordan, flu game. How many times do we see people play with the flu? A lot. Kurt Schilling with the bloody sock. Even though I'm a bloody sock conspiracist, he still came out there and played. Why is Stephen Stausburg denying the ball? Like, if I were his teammate, like, that's like fighting. I mean, because we look at Isaiah Thomas. Just played in the playoffs. His sister died. Came out and balled out. He didn't have to play. But the fact that Stephen Stausburg, well, according to USA Today reports, did not want the ball, just wanted his normal start, that's a total diva move. Like, if that were to happen in a football game or even a basketball game, like, that would be grounds for a fight, like a full fist fight in the locker room. Oh, you're not going to play today? Just because? Just because you want your normal start, even though you're on normal rest? Get the hell out of here, bro. But this is what the Nationals get, though. They've wrapped Stephen Stausburg in bubble wrap since the beginning. He was drafted #1 overall in 2009, got to the bigs in 2010. Then when the Nationals went to the playoffs, he was at his innings limit. So they said, no matter what, we're shutting him down. No matter, even though we were favorites to potentially win the World Series, we're going to shut our ace down because of he's getting close to his innings limit. What? I mean, where on earth is that okay? Are you trying to win games? Are you trying to win championships? Because winning championships is hard. You don't just get to, I'm not under perfect conditions today. I have a hangnail. I have a blister on my foot. If what Curt Schilling did is true, where he sewed up his damn ankle and played with the bloody sock, if that's actually real, then guess what? How on earth can you justify this, Stephen Stausburg? How can you justify this, Nationals? I would be pissed off, because there have been times, I know football culture is different than baseball, basketball culture, but I remember a time, right? I made a very poor decision because I was trying to be a tough guy. I played with the tinge unit on my back during a game. It was during the Colts game 2004, fourth game of the year. I had been playing well. I hurt my back previous. I scored the game-winning touchdown against Tennessee the previous week. Was hurt all week. And then whenever I would come off the field, they would put the tinge unit back on me. But I kept the pads on. But that's what, the trainers have to protect you from you. You can't protect you from you. Let the trainers protect you from you. It is tough when I try not to attack people's character and their heart and all this stuff, but this is just not competitive at all by Stephen Stausburg. It's just not. And if you're his teammate, when you have a guy like Bryce Harper who plays hard, I know a lot of people don't like him, his attitude, the whole make baseball great again, all that thing. I get it. I get how you cannot like him, but you have to like his game and you have to like how hard he plays. And if I'm him, I'm looking at Strausburg. I'm not even looking to do in the eye. I'm not even talking to you, because it's frustrating. Because when you put in 162 games worth of work, like baseball players do, and then you have a dude that bails on you, oh God, oh my God, that is just, it has to feel criminal to those dudes. It has to. Because I would be upset, pissed off to the highest levels of all festivity. Thank you guys for watching Unafraid today. Right or wrong, please make sure you like the feed, share the feed, continue the conversation. Last thing up, though. So we're going to talk about character for a second, because there have been all these allegations and all this with Harvey Weinstein. And if you don't know who Harvey Weinstein is, he's one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. He owns the Weinstein Company. Well, he founded the Weinstein Company. He originally, him and his brother, founded Miramax and sold it to Disney, I think in '93. He's been involved with executive producing or producing Project Runway, Django Unchained, Spy Kids, Silver Linings Playbook, Shakespeare in Love, Gangs of New York, all of this, right? And we've had everybody from, well, it all started with Ashley Judd. She came forward in an expose in the New York Times last week, said that she was subject to unwanted sexual advances while working on Kiss the Girls in '97, right? And then we come to find out that Weinstein has settled over at least eight sexual harassment suits. And I talked to 3 separate people who work in Hollywood yesterday. I talked to 2 agents and an actor. Know what they told me? This is the worst kept secret in Hollywood. Everybody knows this dude is a creep. So while all these people, including his wife, Weinstein's wife, who's leaving him now, of 10 years, all these people are coming out, putting out their public statements. Oh, I'm so disappointed. As a father of 4 daughters, as a father of 3 daughters, as a father of a daughter of a, I mean, come on, man. It doesn't take for you being a father of a daughter to realize that this dude's a scumbag. And the fact, I mean, this is exactly what goes on, truth be told, with racism in our country. Same thing that goes on with police brutality. Same thing with protecting criminals with badges. Same thing. You protect this man because of your quote unquote money or your brotherhood or whatever the hell it is. I mean, but what does that say about you? I mean, at some point in time, like, we have to be willing to just say, you know what? I know that Weinstein is powerful and all this stuff, and stop saying, oh, I can't do anything about it. It's your responsibility as a person to do something about it. Even if you don't want to be the one to come forward, go talk to other people and you guys come out together. You're more powerful in groups. And then I saw a tweet today that said that he should get his Oscar taken back and all this. And I really don't know how my original thought is that it should not be taken back because it's an award based upon merit for the film, for a film, right? Not for some character award, lifetime achievement award, or any of that. So that's where I'm at with the Oscar. But then I thought about where Weinstein is with the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, not merit-based. Like, there's not the criteria. I'm ripping the star up. Because you can't be running around abusing people like this. And the fact that it has gone on and unchecked for so long is ridiculous. I mean, like, this has even trickled down to a guy like Terry Crews. Because the idea of casting couches is real. It is real. And if you don't know what a casting couch is, it is essentially where man or woman, they bring you in for an audition or meeting or whatever it is to their hotel room, to their office or whatever, and you got to perform on the couch. If you want the job, you want the role, you want the career. And it's usual for sexual favors. Yep, that's the casting couch. And Weinstein has been doing this for years. And he's not the only one. Then there's people, and where I said it trickles down to Terry Crews. So Terry Crews, everybody knows he's big dude. Terry Crews is a football player. Looks tough, big bad muscles. He talked about this year, he was at a party. Huge network executive or movie executive felt him up at a party. And he had to say something about it, but then at the same time, he had to let it pass, even though he wanted to punch him in the face. Because he was like, oh, wait, big black guy gets arrested for punching network executive. So that's where he thought about that. I understand that. But the problem is when you have people in power that try to take advantage of it. This is no different than cops who protect criminals with badges. No different than people closeted racists, closeted sexists. None of this. Closeted people who protect child predators in your family. This is no different. This is how this goes. Oh, well, we don't want to blast it. It might get in trouble like this or that. I mean, come on. Like, you've had stars like Ben Affleck come out and say, man, I don't know how we can stop this from happening to anybody else in the future. Bro, you knew. You actually said the words. I told him to stop doing that. Multiple people. So come on, man. Like, this is the worst kept secret. And then to top it all off, though, right? Weinstein, big Hollywood executive, sexually harassing women for decades. Guess what he is? He's a champion for women's rights and women's groups. Donating big money, showing up at all their fundraisers, like the great man he is. Hell no. Secrets in the closet, skeletons in the closet, dusty corners. That's whack, dude. Don't protect it. no matter what industry. Because guess what? It might happen to you. Might happen to your kid. Might happen to somebody else. But we're always looking out for number one. You should be looking out for number one. That's you. Number one, your character. It's also just like we had Pennsylvania Representative Tim Murphy. This is the same dude who co-sponsored a bill against 20-week abortion, banning 20-week abortions that just got signed. Through text messages, he just asked, mind you, he's married, just asked his mistress to have an abortion. So what did she do? She posts on Facebook and outs him. That's why he resigned. You have zero issue posting your pro-life stance all over the place when you had no issue asking me to abort our unborn child just last week when we thought that that was one of the options. Wow. Sounds very Weinstein-like to me, buddy. It's the protection. It's not the actual act of what people are doing that is wrong, right? Mind you, that is wrong, but it's the protection of it that allows it to continue, which is even more criminal because you're complicit in more people being abused. I mean, it's ridiculous. I get that the dude entertains us. He makes wonderful movies. Shakespeare in Love, Silver Linings Playbook. My kids love Spy Kids. I love Django. Know a lot of people love Project Runway. But guess what? Somebody else will make great TV. Maybe the dude really needed help. But it's his statements, though, that are probably the most troubling to me. Like, his statements are like puzzling to me because he says, mind you, because he admits to it. He says, I came of age in the 60s and 70s when all the rules about behavior and workplace were different. That was the culture then. I've since learned that it's not an excuse in the office or out of it. To anyone, I've realized some time ago that I need to be a better person, and my interactions with people I work with have changed. I appreciate the way I've behaved with colleagues in the past has caused a lot of pain, and I sincerely apologize for that. Though I'm trying to do better, I know I have a long way to go. That is my commitment. Mind you, Harry Weinstein left to Europe for to go to rehab, right? Convenient that he went to Europe because guess where some of those countries lie that you can't get extradited for sex crimes. Yeah, buddy. So you think it's over rehab, but if some charges come down, he's not trying to go to jail. So that means you're really not trying to take accountability for what you did. You're just trying to cover it up. And then he got fired from the Weinstein Company, which he founded. But then he still wants to remain in some consulting role. I mean, come on, man. Like, at what point in time, like, do we stop the charade? Because all these Hollywood types want to act like President Trump is the worst person in the whole world. Mind you, I've been very open and honest about what I feel about the man, about President Trump. But you can't then get on your soapbox when you've been protecting this dude with your secrets. That's the truth. Can't have it one way or the other. You got to live it on both sides, man. You got to live it on both sides. Man. Oh, boy. I mean, it's just frustrating and infuriating. Next thing, though, is that the Unafraid mailbag is coming out today. The anonymous mailbag starts today. You guys are going to enjoy it. There are couple nice things, couple risque things as well. Hope you guys enjoy it. Appreciate you joining me today. Right or wrong, Unafraid. Please make sure you like the feed, share the feed, continue the conversation. Yeah, and I will see you guys tomorrow.